Samurai Champloo is about a group consisting of Mugen, Fu, and Jin, and follows their merry adventures to find a samurai who smells of sunflowers. And in the end, they find him. The end. Alright, I was just kidding. Samurai Champloo is the second series directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, the bloke behind that little known anime called Cowboy Bebop, and it's also inherently his second attempt at creating a hip, action-oriented show done in a style to appeal to Western audiences. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, it's not Samurai Champloo, it's Samurai Champloo! That's better. Anyway, Samurai Champloo! It doesn't have much of a plot since I just basically summed it up in the first sentence of this review. But the series is more episodic, where each episode contains a story of its own, with the show being more about the journey than the actual destination itself. The three main characters include Mugen, probably the most badass samurai in the history of anime, since at the end of the day, no matter who you are, if you're going up against a breakdancing samurai voiced by Steve Bloom in a contest of badassery, you're going to fucking lose. And then there's Fu, who is officially one of the dullest anime characters in the world, so instead of challenging myself to think up a joke, here's a monkey on a push bike. Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, I want to... And Jin, who's an even duller anime character than Fu, so you know what, here's the same monkey with a different song on top. Okay, fine, I'll do this review properly. Jin is your generic emotionless samurai who has less personality than the stone statue of a dreary-eyed Keanu Reeves, and Fu is... Well actually there isn't a lot I could say about Fu because I couldn't for the life of me figure out what her purpose was. Was she there to be helpful? Fuck no. All she seemed to do was whine, trip over a lot and get kidnapped. Was she there for the fan service? I don't think so, because apart from that famous jiggle in the first episode, there wasn't a lot of fan service in the series. Was she there to move the plot along? No. Now, I don't normally mention soundtracks in my reviews, but I think the one in deserves a mention because the anime uses hip-hop as its main theme for the soundtrack, and while I was skeptical at first, the music fits surprisingly well considering I'm not a huge fan of hip-hop myself. Animation also gets a special mention since this is one of the best animated shows I've seen. It's done in a sort of cinematic style with the backgrounds moving in real time, and it doesn't have those flying lines in the background like the characters have magically jumped to hyperspace every time they go for an attack. This gave the anime some of the coolest sword fights I've seen, whether it be Jin's calm and composed way of swinging the sword, or Mugen's crazy unorthodox fighting style like that black guy of Tekken who breakdances that I could always use to beat my old friends by just randomly mashing buttons, and he'd always complain because he thought using that character was cheating and I should use a proper character, but I thought he was just a sore loser and well... Yeah, who's laughing now, Dean? Sorry, got a bit off topic there. So anyway, with all this great animation and soundtrack, but let's be honest, a pretty pants storyline, something else needs to be present to make the show worth watching. Let me introduce you all to the rule of cool. Rule of cool is when a series like Cowboy Bebop can be excused for not having much of a plot and minimal character development because it's so fucking badass. Rule of cool is when the over-the-top fights in Gurren Lagann could get so stupid that by the end they could be throwing dildo-shaped quasars at each other, and you'd still be sitting there cleaning off the cum stains in your pants because those fights are made out of sheer awesomeness. See, if a series is deemed cool enough, we are willing to forgive it for its flaws that would otherwise throw the anime into the dark pits of hell. Black Lagoon does this, Baccano does this, and Champloo does this. But not perfectly. See, a show like Samurai that has the episodic nature needs to live off the rule of cool to survive. And it does this well to an extent, but certainly not as well as the grandmaster daddy of them all, Cowboy Bebop. It just seems sometimes that the show tried to be too hard to be different and cool, and just made the series inconsistent with some episodes being totally awesome, while other episodes being just plain average. The action-oriented episodes were all pretty much badass on a scale of 1 to badass, but the comedy episodes were a bit hit and miss, with episodes like the zombie one and the graffiti one being medical, while episodes like the one where Mugen takes on a whole underground mafia for a chance of getting laid being absolutely hilarious.
Alrighty, let's get down to business here.
Hey! Look, there's a naked woman over there!
Huh?
I guess you could sum up most flaws of Champloo in 5 words. I want to be like Bebop.
That's 6 words.
Shut up, nobody was counting anyway. In my opinion, the character dynamics just weren't as strong as they were in Bebop, and you can try to convince me all you want about how Champloo is different from Bebop, but there are so many similarities between the two that they might as well be siblings. Overall, isn't the perfect anime, and it does drag on sometimes, but despite its flaws, I would recommend that you watch anyway. If not for the great animation and some of the best action I've seen, watch it for the experience, because let's be honest, where else will you be able to see beatboxing samurai or breakdancing swordsmen? All in all, it's pretty obvious that Watanabe tried to make the show appeal to the Western audience like he did with Bebop, though in the end all he really needed to do to make the show fit in with Western culture was include a few dick jokes now and then. I give this anime an 8 out of 10.
Do what I want, 'cause I get it if I don't.